What's up guys, this is Balázs from RacingBrick. I'm sure you've already seen my detailed preview video about the 2022 Speed Champion sets and also Chris Stam's excellent presentation with the prototypes and the design secrets, so you should know almost everything about these novelties by now. If you missed any of these videos, then I suggest to click on the link in the top right corner and watch them before proceeding. So now that we have everyone back, I will build and show you today the 3 single car sets. These are the Ferrari 512M, the Lotus Evija and the Lamborghini Countach. I won't talk much about the box arts as you could already see that in my preview video. After a quick glimpse at the front and at the back of the boxes, let's open them. All of the 3 sets will be available on lego.com from the 1st of March. Their retail price is €20 or dollars. The Ferrari set has 2 numbered bags inside, the manual and a rather small sticker sheet. The Lotus has more things, 2 numbered bags, an unnumbered one with the wheel covers, a separate base and the manual. The Lamborghini again only has 2 bags, the manual and the sticker sheet. Let's start building the Ferrari. The process begins with an interesting technique that appears in more and more sets. Such combination of pieces is used to provide support to additional parts attached sideways at a specific height. We'll see what comes here. Here's the front axle and a cool way to set those pieces at a specific angle at the front. I assume the bar that acts as a stopper will also have other support functions as well. The first stickered element is the dashboard with the gauges, and the steering wheel is also in place. Candles are used as exhaust pipes, and a single piece holds the back of the seat. As you see, there's an interesting symmetrical structure built on top of it. The support of the rear lights is similar to that structure on the side I showed you earlier. The rear section sits on a bunch of jumper plates, and a few pieces and stickers later we are at the end of bag 1. Bag 2 begins with the assembly that is attached to this side support. Here is a neat little detail. This upside down build connected with a clip to that hook to form the rear wheel arch. Another nice attention to detail, the black and red sticker on that hinge element along with the black 1x1 plate, they are there to make the interior of this air intake section black. Okay. This is something really interesting. The set has these 1x1 red plates with the tiny Ferrari logo. I actually wanted to warn you to pay attention to them, since in previous sets it was easy to use the printed ones accidentally instead of the standard ones, and then later you had to go back and find the missing printed one, which was very annoying. In this case, however, the designer prevented the issue with a simple move. All 6 of these 1x1 plates are printed, although only 2 of them will have the prints visible. Here, as you can see, the print is covered by another element. And this is the section where the print is actually visible on them. Time to use that bar at the front with some tricky assemblies. Yeah, really tricky ones. This here seems to have random angles and connections on all sides with some transparent pieces embedded, but this will perfectly form the headlight and the front side of the car. Amazing. The printed canopy piece fits perfectly here. Only a few pieces left to add, then the wheels, and we are finished. Here is our driver figure in this cool printed Ferrari racing suit. He also has a hairpiece besides the helmet. I have to confess, I'm not the biggest fan of these Le Mans race cars, but the accuracy and the level of detail on this model is stunning. The brick built slit at the front is there by purpose. You can see the original car here for comparison. The printed canopy piece fits here perfectly, and the vents on the sides are stunning. There's even a gap above the rear wheel. Some details are added with stickers, like the intake behind the cabin or the one in front of the rear wheels. The whole rear section looks great, and the arrangement of the rear lights and the exhaust pipes are really accurate. What I'm missing a bit are the massive rear wheels. Proportionally, these should be much wider. The transparent support pieces for the rear wing elements look weird for the first sight, but if we check the real car, these were actually supported by very thin vertical plates that are impossible to recreate in LEGO form at this scale, so I think this is still the best compromise. The car had a funny periscope instead of a rear view mirror that is also missing from the LEGO version, but it would be way too small to be represented with any LEGO pieces. I really like these 3D headlights, but too bad the red of that printed transparent tile does not really match the red LEGO pieces, and this is also true for the print on the canopy. Now let's build the Lotus. We start with the base, and here are some parts that I've never seen before. Seems to be like a fusion of a plate and a brick with a hole. It is not new, it was introduced last year, but this is the first time I see it in a set. The area around the rear bumper has some interesting building techniques used. The structure of the complex rear light also starts to take shape. This transparent piece is only sitting on this hinge element to have the thinnest support possible. The hinge itself won't be able to move. Another cool detail, the usage of these wedge pieces at the corners. It might not be totally faithful to the original shapes, but a clever part usage and a respectable attempt to recreate those complex shapes and edges. A quite unusual sight in a Speed Champion set, Technic parts and pins. And here's the reason for the pins, they will support these assemblies. Okay, check this one out. We have these shorter stickers on the tiles here, but there's a reason for that. The triangular tiles will cover the gaps at the rear, and then comes this cool printed canopy piece that I've never seen before, by the way. Let me know in the comments please if you've seen the design already. The whole thing with the prints and stickers come together so elegantly, looks amazing. The final piece from bag 1 is this snowboard element that is new in this color. It is used upside down as the rear spoiler. If you were worried about the alignment of the steering wheel, then I have some good news. Thanks to the clever usage of these jumper plates, that central piece is properly supported, and the steering wheel will also be in front of the driver. That's why I really love the recent Speed Champion sets, the attention to detail and the innovative usage of Lego pieces. Just take a look at this assembly with the jumper plates, hinges and brackets, with a very specific arrangement at the end. The variety of different plates, wedges and other new parts makes such complex surfaces possible even at this scale. Check out all the curves and layers here. The air intake is no longer a simple sticker, but it is properly built. This front section is built upside down and it is attached with toe bolts. And here are our brand new specific wedge pieces for the headlights. They are printed and look absolutely stunning. Here you can see how that final piece at the front takes advantage of the hinge I did earlier, giving it the exact slight angle it needs to fit perfectly. All we have left is the printed windshield and the wheels with the wheel covers of our choice, and the car is finished. Here is our driver in his Lotus branded suit and with his hair to put on after racing. The Lotus Evija has really organic smooth shapes in reality, so the Speed Champions version had a very difficult task. I would say the front of the car is the area where it is the least successful. Despite the new headlight pieces, that big step between the pieces simply doesn't work for me. The real car has a very different look. The side, on the other hand, looks much better. I really like the complex brick build shapes here. The two-piece glass top with all the stickers continuing towards the rear is great, and that snowboard was a very clever part choice. The rear lights, well, you definitely need some imagination to see the original shape, but I still very much respect what the designer did here. At this scale, this really looks like the best design achievable. Okay guys, please stop typing. I just saw this building mistake during editing. That rear diffuser section should be obviously the other way around. My bad. People were worried about the potential color variations of the pieces based on the official photos, but I am glad to say that I can hardly find any outstanding pieces on this build. Probably this one above the rear wheel looks a bit off, but I really had to try hard to find it. And now comes my absolute favorite from 2022, the Lamborghini Countach. One thing to mention before we start, the sticker sheet. If you ever built a white Lego set with stickers, then you know this problem. White stickers does not really match the color of white Lego pieces, and they don't look good when applied. That's why we should appreciate the sticker sheet of this white Lamborghini, since we get transparent stickers. I'm really curious how these will look like on the car compared to the regular ones. This is the base of the set. I would say it is pretty conventional so far. Now this is an interesting structure with the brackets and the transparent pieces, as the transparent ones won't be visible at all when it goes in place, so I wonder what they symbolize. Another explanation can be a simple part optimization. They are used also at visible places, so it's always better to use multiple pieces of the same part and color combination. Here we are building the side of the car, and I think this will be easily the most controversial point, the NACA duct, or at least the opening that should represent it. I will talk about it soon in details. Here are the previously hidden transparent tiles now at a visible spot, and an unusual Technic assembly in a Speed Champion set. Yet another pretty complex build, the rear bumper area. This is how the 4 exhaust pipes are mounted, and the whole thing clicks in place nicely. Okay, this will actually blow your mind. First of all, the assemblies that are connected to the Technic axle holes with these totally unrelated modified round tiles. Once you connect both of them, you rotate the whole thing and boom! Perfectly aligned curved surfaces matching the edge of the car and also providing us with the iconic rear end of the car. Truly amazing. Here comes the engine cover, And this is the end of bag 1. Doors might look simple, but they aren't. We get rear view mirrors as well, and these assemblies are secured in place with the parts of the red interior. We have a cool gear shifter, and yes, I know the steering wheel is not aligned properly with the driver's seat this time, but apparently this sacrifice was necessary to provide support for the side panels. The stickers on these pieces will have some significance shortly, but first check out this innovative connection method. There's a very specific distance at the end between the pieces, matching the curve of the front fenders. This knot assembly, short for studs not on top, goes to the front of the car, and now you can check out these amazing 3D lamps with the transparent pieces and the stickers beneath them. Here comes the rear wing, oops, better put that in place gently, then the windshield, and all we have left are the wheels with these cool printed wheel covers, and we are done. I really love the overall look. The real car is full of sharp edges everywhere, and I think it is really well captured in Lego form. Here's our driver with his helmet and hairpiece. Poor fellow only got a Lamborghini jacket and some simple jeans. That might be the reason for the second verbate face on the headpiece. He is the only one among the three having that. Maybe he can borrow the Ferrari suit from the other guy if no one sees it. I don't want to talk again about all the great details mentioned during the build. This is definitely my favorite car among the three built today, but there are a few things that I have to mention. Yes, I know the rear lights should be more detailed, but I think the part usage with this red transparent cone piece is brilliant, and all the other pieces above and below it captures the shape of the real car perfectly. And now let's jump to the elephant in the room, that NOCA duct. If you don't know what a NOCA duct or NOCA scoop is and why it is called this way, I'll link a video in the top right corner about it. This air scoop has a very specific shape. If it doesn't look like this, then it won't work as it is intended. Now on this Lego set, as you see, we only get half of the proper shape. The problem is definitely the scale and the amount of space here. As you see on the real car, the duct is right below that shoulder line. Here on the Lego set, there's literally no any space to add the symmetrical piece on top of this one. Even by moving this curved piece a little bit lower would not be enough. I respect the effort of the designer trying to brick build as many details as possible, but in this case I think a sticker or maybe a printed piece could have been a better choice. Another thing I probably would have done differently is the rear wing. That plate on top of makes it too thick. I think a transparent round piece below the wedges might have a better look. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And my final concern is not related to the design, it is again the way Lego parts look. The printed white of the windshield looks very off, especially considering the effort with all the transparent stickers to avoid the color mismatch. So let's sum it up. Some of you might think I am way too critical when I'm trying to compare all these tiny little details of the real cars with these Speed Champion sets at this scale, but I'm actually very glad I can do this. Let me explain. Since the introduction of the 8 white cars, the general shape and accuracy of the Speed Champion sets improved dramatically. The effort and the attention to detail is really visible. Basically, all of these are great sets as they are, and if you're interested in tricky builds and small details, then they are probably the best automotive sets you can buy today. But everything can be improved, and I want them to be really perfect, so that's why I try to provide some constructive criticism. I would also like to know what you think about them, so please let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe with notifications, as there are tons of exciting reviews coming in the next days. See you very soon, bye bye.